Namaskar. Welcome to Supply Chain India. We are in end October, 6 months after India announced the nationwide lockdown to fight the coronavirus. Factories become silent, all forms of public transport grounded to a halt. No one dared to step out of one's home. Such was the fear about the most successful Chinese global export. The world economy collapsed. India also. That was 6 months ago. Today, the gradual recovery is on. Normalcy is returning slowly. In a democracy like India, there is a high decibel level of acrimony and debate. In September, for which export data is available, better performance over the previous months is noticed. Let us hear what engineering exporters have to say. The thrust of the story is about the export performance. Okay.
Yes.
Tell me, sir, what is your, currently the newspapers all talk about that the September performance of exports was much better. Okay. So from an engineering export promotion council point of view, what is your own reading? What's really happening on the export front?
Currently, the rapid outbreak of the global pandemic, COVID-19, has created an unpredictable impact much beyond what is now normally expected of the situation. However, I have no doubt India and the world will achieve faster progress, greater prosperity, and new quality of development post-COVID crisis. New technologies will be invented. New technologies will be adopted in India for health care, for production, for agriculture, and beyond that. In support of the government's call for Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are encouraging our exporters of Indian engineering industry to focus more on self-reliance. It is a well-known fact that MSME constitute a major portion of the Indian exporting community, at least in the engineering industry. MSMEs as a whole sector contributes considerable part of our national GDP also. Due to lack of resource and technology, these exporters majority produce low to mid-value added products, which are then exported to countries such as China and West for further value addition, and then after that they are re-imported in India paying a very high price.
Yeah, Mr. Desai. Mr.
Yes.
Desai. Tell me, while, the exports are really growing, the imports seem to be on the decline, and which basically denotes that the manufacturing activity in India has really not, regained its, earlier, a pace. So this leading to a very, distorted picture of the balance of trade.
Yes. Because there are so many factors involved. The exports are picked up because of pent-up demand in the earlier months. If you remember, April, May, June, we had a very bad period where exports were almost negligible. But now it's picking up. At the same time, imports have been cut down due to certain government policies and also Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, all exporters and Indian industry think of making things in India so that it will help us to have a very competitive prices in the world market so that we can improve our exports.
Yeah, Mr. Desai, as far as the engineering exports is concerned, which part of the world where we are really making a mark. And the related question is in the current scenario where there seems to be a little bit against Chinese, China due to the coronavirus. where you reckon, Indian engineering exports can really make a dent in the global market?
I am very optimistic. As an engineer, as a first generation technocrat, I am very, very hopeful that Indian engineering industry will have its place in the world market. But for that now, the global community has accepted that they can't keep all the eggs in Chinese basket. They must have China plus one policy. And that plus one, India finds itself in a very, very strong position. But we have to take advantage of this particular position. How we can take advantage? First of all, we have to upscale our technological upscale in our industry. We have to go for latest technology, and also we have to develop skills to manage these new technologies. Also, our industries must have a tie-up for research and development with our CSIR uh, national laboratories, as well as with IITs, engineering industries, and in the engineering colleges, so that we all are on the same platform and we do continuous R&D along with technological upgradation plus skill development.
Yeah, Mr. Desai, like in the global market for the engineering exports, which are all the first two countries with whom we are clashing on the global scale?
See, for our product, our main clashing is with China as of today. But for value-added products, now India makes many products which are of high level of a technological achievement, like very sophisticated instrumentation for, and then also many other products for healthcare. So our competition is mainly with Germany, Korea, Japan, of course, United States, and also with, of course, with many other products. We also compete with our nearby countries like Thailand also.
Yeah, Mr. Desai, like currently one is hearing there is a very huge container shortage. Okay, since there are no the imports have dwindled. Okay, the incoming of the containers is on a lower side, whereas the exports are picking up. So there is a mismatch between demand and supply of containers. What is how exactly engineering promotion exports facing a challenge on the container side?
It's a real challenge which has developed over last 2-3 months because of dwindling of imports, and then also our exports have improved. So the containers are stacked up at our internal depot services, what we call the dry deck, also on the main dock. So we have approached the government. We have also requested to appoint some regulatory body so that they can control the freight charges. As you know, all the shipping lines are, except one shipping corporation of India, all are of the foreign headquarter, and they have doubled the freight charges because they say we have to bring the empty container from outer port. So we will charge you for incoming containers. Also, we'll charge you for outgoing containers. The other suggestion what EPC has given to that, you see, we can send some our feeder vessels. You know, the main parent vessels, they call on the main port like Colombo, Singapore, Dubai, and others. So we can send our feeder vessels. This is going on because our exports can also go to on feeder vessels to the Colombo port and then get the empty containers at very low cost. But a lot of things have to be organized at the government level, at the port trust, Colombo port trust, our port trust. So we are working with the government on this project. But ultimately, there has to be a more exports, we have to think something else so that our uninterrupted exports can take place. Let me tell you here that more than thousands and thousands of containers are lined up in Punjab, Ludhiana, and Jalandhar, and many places. The situation is aggravated because of farmers. The rail roko andolan going on in Punjab and industry. So these are some of the local factors which also affects our exports. We all are optimistic with our government, with our Prime Minister. First half of 2021, we all have to struggle. But second half of 2021 and 2022, there is a very bright future for all of us, and our exports will grow, our economy will also grow.
That was Mahesh Desai from the Engineering Export Promotion Council. Manufacturers have done their bit. What about the freight forwarders?
Many business enterprises had chalked out business continuity plans to handle disaster, but none factored in total shutdown. APL Logistics kept its 8 container freight stations in India open even during the lockdown to service global clients because ports were never shut. Things are looking up, say experts, particularly garment and automotive.
Business is back by almost 90%.
Oh,
There are two segments I will tell you is back to almost 90%. One is the garment sourcing segment, right? It's almost back to 90%. I would say, especially in India. In fact, if you look at our September numbers, right? If we look at our own September numbers, actually they are higher than what was done for September of 19.
you are talking
Right,
about India's numbers, or you are talking about APL's number?
I'm talking about AP logistics sourcing numbers.
Okay.
But this morning, in fact, I was just reading an article from Apparel Export Promotion Council Chairman Mr. Shaktivel.
Oh,
He has
Tirupur.
given a statement that actually September for apparel exports overall is is actually higher than 19 September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So from a retail sourcing standpoint, I think and he's talking about a V-shaped recovery for the textile and or the apparel segment.
So what is the
I
other
think apparel
segment?
definitely is.
What is the other segment?
The other segment I would say is automotive.
Automotive.
The sales are I think you take any of the major OEMs, all have gone into 3-shift operations. Our own car trains are running at 100+% of capacity, which means we have huge backlog lying at every car terminal we are managing. No, I think so. At this point of time, the way we have done our budgeting and the way we are looking at it, right? Currently, of course, it completely looks like a V. But I think by end of the year, maybe the V will taper down slightly, right? So we are expecting that as far as numbers are concerned, 2021 might be close to say 90% of 2019. Right, because the last quarter, V recovery which you are seeing, which could be backlog orders, it could be a surge in people buying things like cars, small cars are selling well and all. But obviously it will taper by December. I think it will taper to some extent. Right? So I think if we are able to do as good as 2019 in 21, that itself I would say is a good scenario, right? Because we are talking about only very few segments as we speak. But when you look at the economy, sectors which are highly employing, right? Look at domestic retail as a segment, manufacturing in itself, certain segments, airline as an industry. I think several industries have been impacted in a much more severe way. How they are also able to come back. So, if they are even able to do 90% of what they did in 2019, that in itself should be good enough.
Are you part of the new fleet evolution? The transition is already underway. Fleets are using data to manage smarter, keeping drivers safe, streamlining operations, keeping customers satisfied. This requires agility and the right platform. Did you know that 94% of road accidents are caused by human error? What if your drivers had an active coach, keeping them engaged and safe and reducing their stress? And what about your managers? What if you could cut their administrative workload and help them gain visibility and control of the fleet? Green Road supports you with one unified platform. Our advanced active coaching gives drivers clear feedback to help them drive more safely and efficiently, and keeps them motivated via personalized information and friendly competition. In the office, online dashboards keep the right information at your fingertips, freeing you to focus on exceptions and pressing issues. Whether you require an app, an installed solution, or other sensors, all are integrated into a single platform that helps you manage diverse operations proactively across the world. The result? Safe drivers, reduced risk, protection for your brand, and savings for your business. The Green Road platform is quick and easy to deploy at scale, even for fleets with thousands of drivers and vehicles throughout the world. Green Road.
Freight forwarders can't act alone. They need the assistance of customs house agents at ports for the inevitable paperwork. What is the scene of late?
Coronavirus is hastening the process of digitization. Under normal circumstances, such a process would have taken several years, particularly in the government segment. But in the present corona hit saga, exporters and importers can submit documents to the customs department online. But it has its own challenges. Exim Consultant Padmanabhan does not mince words.
Yeah, exports are indeed going up. We see positive signs. Particularly even to China, it's going. That's the point. But imports, we face a lot of challenges because of the regulatory compliance, particularly this faceless assessment in the past 15-20 days. It is giving us faceless assessment can be faceless. For example, let's say I'm in Chennai. Normally, the assessment used to be done by the people in Chennai. So if they raise a query, we can always have the luxury of going to them and telling them, look, this is what I want, this is what I have, this is what I'm going to do. Or tell me a way out. Okay. But here now, my bill can be assessed anywhere in India, meaning the fellow sitting in Chandigarh customs, he can pull out my bill of entry and he cannot, he wouldn't assess. He will raise all sorts of queries. It's like something like, you search Google for your headache. The fifth possible thing that can happen to one is a cancer. Okay, that's what the Google says, right? It wants to be very careful. So for a headache, these are all the reasons. These are all finally it may lead to. Finally, you will see any medical opinion on Google, it will end up in cancer. Okay, like that, they raise all sorts of queries which are impossible to answer. And who is there to answer? As a CHA, I give a reply, and immediately one more thing comes. It's endless. And it is impossible to upload all the required documents at one stretch. Okay. I consider it as a teething trouble on a positive side. On the negative side, this is the mindset of the people. Okay. So this is where we find the challenge. This is one. And one more thing is the particular certificate of origin compliance. Okay. Government feels that certificate of origin, the free trade agreements, where certificate of origin is a must to get the exemption, there are lots of leakage. So they have plugged in lot of, requirements. They plugged in a lot of loopholes, perhaps, is what they think. So they are totally impossible to comply with, at least in the short term. Then I went through the whole exercise yesterday night. I went through many literature on the subject in Japan and all that. Even they've also done the same thing. That becomes a big challenge for many of us to do business.
I'm sure you must have really taken up with those, customs, officials,
yes.
Custom Commission, all those kind of a thing. What is their response at the top level?
That is that. But even they are also absolutely clueless. They are not the ones who are the architects of this system. Somebody else does. They have given it, and I think now it's Infosys is the person who is implementing this architecture rather, software architecture. So he has come out with certain solutions. Then our association, all freight forwarders joined together. We took up certain issues. Then they gave us certain suggestions. Hopefully it comes through. For example, I'll tell you, there is something called a tablet. Okay, tablet PC.
Oh.
Right. So if we import a tablet PC, I mean, last month we imported one concern. There was absolutely no problem. We cleared, and it is mainly for the people in who are in schools for the online classes. It comes from China.
Okay, it came from China.
Now it has come from naturally. Where else do you think it will come? It is only coming from China because that's cheap, right? Then this time it is a faceless assessment. Somebody sitting in Bombay said it has to having EPR, extended producers responsibility.
Okay.
See, if you look at it ethically, what EPR is correct, but suddenly you ask everyone to comply with it, and after the import it happens, we are covered by the e-waste management rules. E-waste management says everybody has a responsibility, right from dealer, manufacturer, seller, consumer. Everybody is responsible for the ultimate disposal of the product. For that, the certificate is required. The certificate is issued in Delhi. It takes minimum 120 days to get it.
Acha.
The consignment has come here. We don't know what it is. Then we found certain exceptions to that because in the e-waste management rules, tablet is not appearing. The word tablet is not. I mean, notebooks are appearing. The computers are appearing.
Not tablets.
So not tablets. The rules were framed in 2016.
That time there was no tablet.
Period, it was not popular. It was not popular. It was not popular. The rules must have been framed much earlier, then came into effect in 2016. It was not that popular, so it was not there. So I am going to ask, except because mine is not appearing, you must release it, or you bring an amendment to the rule.
Include tablets into that.
Include tablets into that.
So it's a very painful headache job, huh?
Extremely painful. Extremely. Particularly this phase, the past, I should say, 2 to 3 weeks, it has not been that great getting the thing out.
The typical bureaucratic red tapeism.
I wouldn't say that because where is the question of red tapeism? It's all gone. It is a red tape, online red tapeism, I should say. It is not. Because these people are
online red tapeism, huh?
Online red tapeism. Okay, now where am I going to see? If 2 into 2 is 4 in the normal circumstance, 2 into 2 could be 20, 22 or anything, right? We don't know. It is highly subjective. We have not gone up to that level where we can say, yes, 2 into 2 is 4. We have not gone up to that. The whole industry has to be sensitized. Of course, from the government side, they gave us 1 month to settle down with this certificate of origin business. We have not really taken it up in the right sense, I should say that. In fact, I got through the rules only yesterday after it was introduced on 1st of October or September 21st. Only yesterday I went through the whole business, what it means, how I should do that, So it takes a lot of time and it's a very tricky thing. It requires time to understand all that. For an experienced person like me, to understand the mechanics, nuts and bolts, it takes a lot of time. So we are not yet ready. We are not in this. I cannot blame the government. We should only blame ourselves. We are not yet ready. Our knowledge sharing, knowledge transfer is quite less. So you can't. Can you blame the government for this? You can't.
What about the Federation of Indian Exporters Association?
Sir, everybody is doing something, sir. They are also called. I didn't go for that webinar. They have done. I remember they have done a webinar. Madras Chamber of Commerce did a webinar on this. Government Department, Nation did a webinar. But how many people are going to sit, sir? Every day, people are stuck with their own day-to-day problems. You'll have to set aside some time and go and sit. See, now I had no other option but to sit and I thought, okay, let somebody else. And it's coming so fast, sir. It's coming so fast. I tell you, this government is hyperactive. It's very difficult to keep pace with them. But you have to.
It's good or it's bad? When you say hyperactive, is it a criticism or just an assessment?
In the long run, it is good. In the short term, it's painful.
That was veteran exim consultant Padmanabhan from Chennai on his challenges to help India export more and efficiently. Transporters focused on exim movement were not affected by the virus. On the contrary, they are ecstatic.
Analysts are in foul mood. expectedly with the slow recovery of the economy after the coronavirus hit the world. Exports has picked up with several countries resuming manufacturing at a faster clip than India. Imports into India is yet to see better times. However, transporters handling exim consignments are not bad-mouthing the government. On the contrary, their business seems to be on a better keel.
पूरा इंपोर्ट और एक्सपोर्ट मुंद्रा पोर्ट से जो इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट होता है, गुजरात के जो इंडस्ट्रीज है वो इंपोर्ट या एक्सपोर्ट करती है, उसमें हमारा मेन ऑपरेशन है। और मेन प्रोडक्ट जो सिरामिक टाइल्स है उसका एक्सपोर्ट वॉल्यूम अभी पिछले साल से भी बढ़ा है, तो इसलिए हमारा मतलब डिमांड एडिशन ही हुआ है। सर आगे जाके काम बढ़ने ही वाला है, मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है। आगे जाके एक्सपोर्ट बहुत बढ़ेगा, इंपोर्ट्स कम हो रहा है, अपना इंडिया से एक्सपोर्ट बहुत बढ़ जाएगा, ऐसा दिख रहा है हमको। जैसे मोरबी, हमारे यहाँ पे मेन सिरामिक का क्लस्टर है मोरबी, वहाँ पे अभी 100 प्लांट्स नए आ रहे हैं। 100 नई कंपनी फॉर्मेशन हुई है रिसेंट कोविड के बाद।
अच्छा, सिरामिक
प्लांट्स नए लग रहे हैं यहाँ पे। कंटेनर का बहुत शॉर्टेज चल रहा है, लाइन वाले कंटेनर दे नहीं पा रहे हैं लास्ट 2-3 महीने से, मतलब बहुत ही इन्वेंट्री मिसमैच चल रहा है। इंपोर्ट कम हो रहा है, एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ रहा है, तो उसकी वजह से कंटेनर का इश्यूज है। लेकिन वो सब लाइन वाले क्या एम्प्टी वेसल मंगा के उसको पूरा कर रहे हैं, लेकिन डिले बहुत हो रहा है।
Whatever one may say, the container yard owners are hit hard by the Chinese virus.
Dayanand Mondal is concerned. His empty container yard is almost empty. It has capacity to stack 3,000 containers in 3 tier. Today, his business is dull. Corona has hit hard. His empty container yard is less than 2 kilometers away from the inland container depot at Dadri, Uttar Pradesh. He is nostalgic about the good of 2017 and 2018. Today, fewer imports has led to less business also. Still, he is hopeful for the better days are not far away.
अभी चाइना है कि इस समय कोरोना भी चल रहा है, तो चाइना का भी इम्पैक्ट तो है ही है, प्लस कोरोना के वजह से भी सभी जगह से इंपोर्ट आना, एक्सपोर्ट जाना, यहाँ से थोड़ा सा तो इम्पैक्ट है ही है इसके ऊपर। तो बिज़नेस में मतलब 70% बिज़नेस तो नहीं आउट हो गया, 30% बिज़नेस अभी चल रहा है। तो धीरे धीरे अभी देख रहा हूँ थोड़ा थोड़ा डेवलप हो रहा है, चालू हो गया। आने वाला दिन में हो सकता है अगले 1-2 महीने में इसको ठीक हो जाएगा। ऐसा कुछ नहीं कह सकता है। वो 17-18 का सीज़न तो अभी मेरे हिसाब से 21 तक आ जाएगा। ये आ जाएगा नहीं, ज़मीन खुद का नहीं होगा, रेंटल पे भी लेगा तो चलेगा, बट ज़मीन का आपको अच्छी तरह से डेवलप करेगा तो हो सकता है आपका बिजनेस थोड़ा सा और भी बढ़ सकता है। सीमेंट है, हाँ, पेव्ड यार्ड हो गया, तो उस हिसाब से आपके पास मतलब अप्रोच करने के लिए अच्छा रहेगा लोगों को, और अट्रैक्टिव भी रहेगा। शिपिंग लाइन्स को अच्छा लगेगा, कंटेनर उसका ख़राब नहीं होगा, तो इस तरह से थोड़ा सा आप ज़्यादा आगे बढ़ सकता है।
Maersk, we all know, is the world's largest container liner. Is everything okay for it? Check out.
If you think the COVID pandemic has killed global shipping, think again. True, there is shortage of containers at some ports. This has led to the hardening of free trades, particularly between China and America. Thanks to the faster recovery of the Chinese economy from COVID, manufacturing has resumed quickly. China is the world's manufacturing hub. The ongoing US-China trade war has not impacted the traffic. Also, the unlocking of the lockdown in many countries opened up ports for export-import. Maersk, the world's largest container liner, is going whole. It controls 17% of global container trade. Like any other shipping liner, this Danish shipping giant was equally worried about the future when the pandemic hit the world. But since June, things are looking up. Volumes have rebounded faster than expected. Our costs have remained well under control. Free trades have increased due to strong demand, and we are growing earnings rapidly in logistics and services, said Maersk Chief Executive Soren Skov. Despite such positive projections, the company will be trimming its workforce. Maersk is a big conglomerate. Damco, specializing in freight forwarding and logistics, is a part of this group. So are Safmarine, a container operator servicing Africa. Hamburg Sat from Germany also belongs to the Maersk Group, bought in 2017. Since 2016, Maersk is reorganizing its businesses. It has 80,000 people on its rolls across the globe. 2,000 jobs may be lost. There is little clarity on which group company will be hit the most.
Viewers, hope you enjoyed this episode. Due to paucity of time, we are unable to telecast the remaining portion of the interview with Madhu Keshav of Teya in this episode as promised. We will do soon. Subscribe to Supply Chain India. Share. Post your views and opinions in the comment section below. See you soon. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Goodbye.